Hey friends, how's it going? This is David Potts with Song Notes, and I have a warm-up exercise coming your way today. This is going to be based off of the Blaze Foley song, Big Cheeseburgers and Good French Fries. I love that song, and what I wanted to do was take that song, get rid of the capo, okay? Blaze Foley normally uses a capo. I'm not going to do that. He also does finger picking and like a Travis picking style. I'm not going to do that either. I'm just going to use a pick. What that does is it simplifies this little intro here. It makes it a bit more accessible. And whether or not you know this song, it's just a nice good old country strum to practice, right? With alternating bass notes. And I'm going to show you all this. I'll break it down. You have this F add 9 here, and you go back to a C, and then it ends with this G. Okay, that little riff is a nice little accessible one you can get running with in just a few minutes, and I'm going to show you how to do just that. So stick around, and as always, the notes and tabs for this lesson, you can find them on playsongnotes.com. It's my own website. They'll all be there waiting for you, and I have a printable version as well that's made available for my supporters on Patreon. So patreon.com/songnotes is where you can give me a few bucks a month if you dig what I'm doing here, and in return you get the great value of these handcrafted printable lessons for this and all my other new lessons, and I'm also going through my back catalog and offering a bunch of printable lessons for those as well. So playsongnotes.com is where you can find all that information out. But otherwise, let's get into this lesson and we'll be up and running in no time, all right? All right, so the first thing I want to focus on with this lesson is teaching you the chords you're going to need. So they're going to look like this. We're going to have a C, an F add 9, and I might just refer to this as an F going forward, but technically it's an F add 9 with this pinky here, and I'll explain that in a second. Then you'll also have a G, okay? And let me talk about these chords for a second. So the C, the main thing you're going to want to notice compared to a normal C is basically, you know, thinnest 5 strings, third, second, open, first, open. But with this C, what we want to do is put our pinky down on the thinnest string, okay? 3rd fret on the thinnest string. So it'll be 3rd, 2nd, open, 1st, 3rd. If we do 5th string to thinnest, and those are frets, right? And the reason we're going to put our pinky there is obviously the exercise calls for it, but it makes it so much easier from this F add 9. Okay, and this is just starting on the 4th string, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, and then 3rd fret. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, 3. So that's an F add 9. And check out how easy this transition is from the C to the F add 9. All we're doing is moving our left ring and left middle fingers, this finger and this finger, okay? And we're just moving them towards the floor, one string. But basically, the relative position of these two fingers to each other is the same, right? And then the G, check this out. All we're gonna do is move those same fingers toward the sky, 1 fret, and we're gonna lift up our index finger. So we have 3rd, 2nd, open, 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 3rd. So now what do we notice here? Basically on all 3 chords, our pinky is going to be there, left pinky, right? The C, the F add 9, and the G. And also these 2 fingers are going to be playing the 2 bass notes of each chord, the 2 bassiest notes that is, and their relative position to each other is the same. Okay, it makes the transitioning a bit more straightforward that way, right? So those are the chords we're going to need. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the alternating bass notes of these chords. And basically, so for the C, we're not going to be just in this C position all the time. We're going to sometimes be moving our ring finger down to the low E string on the 3rd fret. So it'll be from the 5th string on the 3rd fret to the 6th string on the 3rd fret. Okay, so 5th fret, 5th string, 6th string, 5th string, 6th string. Now all the other fingers are staying in the same spot. So we could do a regular C, strummed, and then we could do it with our ring finger down here on this low E bass note, and strum all 6 strings as well. And the thing I'll say, the really most important part about this is, it's okay when you're playing this 3rd fret of the low E string if your ring finger is lightly touching the 5th string. And it's actually preferred, and the reason why is it'll mute that string. See, right here I'm playing the 5th string, but because this finger is playing the 6th string note, but it's lightly touching the 5th string, it's going to mute it. And that's good because we don't want this 5th string making a sound when our ring finger is down here, right? So basically the goal would be okay, I'll come back to that in a second, but let's look at this F add 9, same deal. start it off in the regular position, and then we're just gonna move our ring finger from the 4th string, 3rd fret, to the 5th string, 3rd fret. And keep all the other fingers in the same spot. And the goal is gonna be I find this one a little bit tougher than the C because your fingers are a bit more like cramped up in this thinnest 4-string area. So you're kind of like elbow to elbow a little bit more. It can be a bit tough, but it's totally worth practicing because this riff is a fun one, right? Now for the G, we're not going to have any alternating bass notes in this sequence. So basically the G stays the same. But basically you want to get familiar with moving your ring finger down, right? So that's the C and the F add 9 ring finger thing. And now let's look at the riff, okay? The sort of riff itself is gonna have these like 4 main sections. The first section is gonna be 2 measures of C, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I really like to point this out. This is like the bird's eye view of looking at this sequence. And when we do the full riff, okay, it follows in that same like groundwork or foundation or whatever, right? I like to just establish that bird's eye view. Now, we have the bird's eye view. Let's add a little bit of complexity. So the first thing I would say is let's take that alternating bass note and just do a simple bass, strum, 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 and the F. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the C. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the G. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do it again. And the F. And the C. G's coming up next, get ready for it. And no alternating bass note in the G. Okay, so that's the next thing I would recommend practicing is get good at that. That'll help you make your way through the whole progression without really any of the super complex, like, you know, riffy, alternating, the quicker strumming. We're not bringing that in yet. I really like to walk you from the starting line to the finish line in a really simple way. Get comfortable with that, and then once you're comfortable and you can do that sort of, you know, without really messing up over and over again, then we're gonna add a bit more complexity. And the first thing you could really add is instead of doing a bass, bass, strum, bass, strum, bass, strum, bass, strum, we could make that strum a down up. So it's bass, down up, 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 G. Okay? One more time. And this is, you know, a good warm-up exercise in itself, right? And of course, we're gonna add to it in a minute here. All right, but basically that's the next thing you'll do. And then the final sort of incarnation of this to get to the finished sort of desired end product looks like this. Now this might look a bit more complicated. It's really not that much further than what I've already showed you. There's just a bit more nuance that I try to communicate with the tab here. One of the things is gonna be the strumming. So we're gonna have a, okay, that's the first 2 measures. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, that's going to repeat for the C and for the F and for the C again. So I'll play those first 3 sequences, right? So bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, we'll save the G for a second. Hold on for that. But basically, what I want to call out here is the alternating bass note only happens on the, you're only going to do it like 3 times for each of the chords, right? For the C, we'll go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, so that last down, up, down, up, we're not switching the bass note, okay? So I want to call that out. And really, the other thing that's important about this riff is on that final down, up, down, up for the C and for the F and for the C, we really want to like accent and shine a light on this note, okay? This is the important note that's going to sort of give character to this riff. So, and you'll notice that in the first down, down, up, down, down, up, down, for the C and for the F and for the C, I'm not really playing this note. So what happens here, the overall effect is by laying off of this note on the first 4 counts of those first 3 sections, and then leaning into it for the final 4 counts, it's gonna like just make it stand out that much more. So check this out, I'm gonna play the whole thing, or at least the first C, the first F, and the first C, and notice how this note only really makes its appearance in the back half of each chord, right? Okay, it's an important thing to really note there. That gives it a bit of character, right? And if you listen to Blaze Foley's version of Big Cheeseburgers and Good French Fries, you'll notice that note as well. It's not playing like every time he strums. He's kind of selectively accenting it to give a bit of character to what's going on here. And then the final thing I'll talk about is this sort of G walk up. So it's going to sound like this. Let me do that again. So we're going to start on this note, this G, but we're going to end on this C, okay? This 5th string 3rd fret, because that's where we're going to start it all over again. So you can, I'll talk about this, doing it faster in a minute, but basically the notes we're going to want to do are 3rd fret, you know, the bass note of the G, right? 3rd fret, the low E string, and then open 5th string, 1st fret, 2nd fret on the 5th string with our index and middle finger, and then open 4th string, 2nd fret, 4th string, and then 2nd open 3rd string, 2nd open 4th string. So and that final, notice that that's happening at twice the speed as all the other notes, right? These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay? That's really important to get, and let me play the whole sequence there, and you'll sort of get the idea of how this fits in. Okay, so that's how you do that little G walk down thing, or it's like a walk up and a walk down. The final thing I'll say about that G is if you want to spice it up on those final, couple notes, you could do that's a hammer on and pull off on the 3rd string from open to 2nd to open. Okay, admittedly I'm not that skilled at doing that, but it would sound like this if I do it slow. One more time. All right, so basically that's how you do that G measure, and then you have this entire riff and you'll be good to go.